Welcome to PCMC Pop Culture Man Children. I'm your host, Mike Bongiorno. I'm joined today by returning guests, returning champion, the author of the A Totally Factual Field Guide to the Supernatural series, which so far has Hanging with Vampires, Chilling with Ghosts, and its most recent entry, Sightseeing with Aliens, Insha Fitzpatrick.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Well, first of all, how's your spooky season going?
Oh my God. I always try to spend like all of the burrs, like September, October, November, and
Yes.
December, honestly, like just watching like a bunch of movies that I've missed over
Sure.
the past like couple of months. Um, Mostly because uh I I am not good at television, but I'm better at
Mhm.
movies.
You
So
mean
I'm
like
just
keeping
like,
up with things as they come out?
yes,
Oh
yes,
yeah.
yes. Like I'm not good at like unless it's like a movie that like I really, really, really need to go and see. Like I
Yeah.
went to go see Cuckoo and I'm still thinking about it.
I haven't
And
seen
then I
that
went to go,
yet.
oh my God, it's so good. Then I went to go see The Crow and I'm upset about it.
Yeah, I didn't even bother.
If you want to have like a good time um while making fun of what that movie is, it is one of those movies.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It's not good. And like 1 out of 5 stars. Do not
Wow.
recommend, but recommend if you just need to turn your brain off for a hot second.
Sure.
But yeah, I my spooky season, I've just spent like a lot of time just watching horror movies.
Yeah.
But how's yours? Like, have you been doing anything?
Oh, well, um, I'm on a quest this year, a self-challenge to try every pumpkin flavored seasonal beverage on the market.
Oh my God.
Uh Also why taking a lot of lactate because my body cannot process these things. My favorite is that was also my favorite that came out last year, which is the Starbucks pumpkin cream chai latte. It's
Oh my God,
so
it's
good.
so good.
It's ridiculously good. But I've tried basically, is there anything I haven't tried yet? I've tried that. I think I've tried all of that. Um, one of my like nerddoms, fandoms is like fast food things. So like
Ah.
I think it just came out. Krispy Kreme is doing a like 50th anniversary of Barbie donuts. So me and my girlfriend are probably gonna go get the Barbie donuts later. Like things like that, like the McDonald's Halloween buckets. Like these are events for me in my life. Um,
That's amazing.
Along with with movies and stuff. And I wanted to talk last time you were on the show, we talked a lot about horror movies, and I know you love horror movies. So I want to talk to you about some of the most recent horror movies that come out, and I want to know your opinion on things and all that stuff. But let's start with Sightseeing with Aliens.
Mhm.
Um, this is the third in this series. So I know the editor is a big part of this series from the last time we were talking. Was the editor the person who came up with the idea of aliens, or were you the person who came to the table with let's do aliens this time?
Oh, it was absolutely so shout out to Jessica, my editor. She's amazing. I cannot sing her praises like enough. Like it's so mind-boggling of how she wants to put together information and allows me to like just spew a lot of stuff at her.
Yeah.
So like this one was absolutely her because I don't think about aliens as much as like I thought
Right.
that I normally should. So I was just like, oh, like that feels on par with this. And then like when she said it was going to be aliens, I was like, really? Like do like it was more like do we have enough
Yeah,
to
yeah, it's interesting.
go?
It's an interesting genre shift, right? Because you're going from gothic, right? Vampires and ghosts
Mhm.
to sci-fi, which is like sci-fi and horror are like best friends, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it is a shift because I remember last time you were telling me about your favorite supernatural beings are werewolves.
Mm.
So I was like, oh, maybe the next one will be werewolf. So I was surprised when I saw that it was aliens. Although I enjoyed the book a lot.
Thank you. You're right. It is a really weird tonal shift. Even one of my good friends, Allie Russell, she was like, "Wait, are you gonna do like werewolves and stuff?" And I was just like, "Listen, I would love to do werewolves one day, but like I remember that a conversation that like me and my editor had where we were just like it's the three books now are very much like past, present, and future, where
Hmm.
like
Wow.
the yeah it's like it's because it's like vampires are very much the present, because you don't know if they exist or not.
Sure. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're kind of like in your weird middle space, and then ghosts come from the past, and they've like
Mhm.
it's either our past or just a past of the past. And then aliens are the future
Wow.
because they're
Yeah.
up in space. Yeah, so we we wanted to set up the trilogy of what these three books are as that.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
So will there be more, or you don't know?
um we have one cooking.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the next one is like in the tank, which is incredible. And honestly, like I'm very surprised. I like it every single time. It very much like surprises me how much information that I'm able to look up.
Yeah.
And yeah, like but
It must be fun. Like I think about like when somebody gets to play a superhero, they get in really good shape. Like when you write one of these books, you must walk away like, now I know everything about aliens.
yeah, like it's very strange because like now I can like I remember going to like another one of my friends and being just like, did you know that like blah 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 about like I got so into exoplanets like because I
Mhm.
was like I didn't even know those existed, and the fact that like there is like biological like stuff on those, I was just like, oh, that's mind blowing. And then everybody was just like, you need to calm down.
No, I think unbridled enthusiasm is one of the one of the good things that a writer could have. Like, do you ever think we talked last time about Ghostbusters? It's my favorite movie. It's tattooed on my body. I I was thinking about like when Dan Aykroyd's first script of Ghostbusters was like 700 pages and it was in the future and it was like and then you needed Harold Ramis to come and be like, all right, let's turn this into something. Like so sometimes that it's a type of creativity. Just going.
Like that's a lot of what my editor had to do for me because I would always just get like so excited about like this new piece of information, and then all of a sudden we'd be like, well, it's like I had a lot of like kill your darlings moments of
Of
like
course,
full
yeah.
blown paragraphs that I'm just like, but can we keep, and she's just like, no.
No, no. Well, do you ever go too far, like where she's like, that's a little too grown up, what you're saying?
Yeah, like we've had a lot within the series, especially, and I think it's more for vampires, like the very, very first one. Like I didn't know how to
Right,
toe that
right.
line of like, this is actual like information that like I think needs to be in there, but at the same time, it's way too mature for the audience that like we're going for, because like
Right.
vampires are like inherently like it
You're
they're
sexy.
yeah, they're very much inherently sexual beings, so it's
Yeah.
kind of just like I don't want to ever make that a bigger thing, and there's so much more to vampires
Sure.
than that. But I very much remember like we had to have discussions about like, like this is what we can put in, this is what we can't. And it was the same for Ghost because,
Mhm.
in Ghost you're dealing with death.
Right,
And then in Aliens, like we're dealing with like parts of outer space that like we really don't know.
right.
And that one
Well,
had yeah.
well, I was gonna say, and if you want, I could cut this out.
No, no, no.
But like, so the major, I think it's a very complete book. But like, and I'm sure you've thought about this, and maybe it was even in a version of it. The major thing that's not in here is what, right? You know what I'm going to say?
Oh yes, yes, yes,
All right,
yes,
anal
yes,
probing.
yes.
So was there ever a point where you were like, can we mention anal probing? Is there a cute way to mention it? Was there ever a conversation? Was there
Very
like a
cute way to
version where
mention it.
maybe it's like, a behind probe or whatever? And they're like, no, no way.
Honestly, and this is gonna sound weird coming from me because like I love like the weird gory details of like
Mhm.
everything. I really didn't even think about it, which is
Really?
yeah, which is odd because like because like I looked up the one fascinating thing about writing sightseeing with aliens is that I me deep dived into a lot of like stories when it came to like the whole chapter that we have with like the different types of like stories
Mhm.
from aliens and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
I 100% was just like I'm gonna go like super duper deep and I want to read like some survivor stories or
Yeah.
stories of people who have ever seen aliens because like I think those are very fascinating
Yes, they are.
and even if you like people do or don't believe them, they are like, I think everybody should be able to have their like story be told. And
Right. Yeah.
I want that so badly. So I was just like, I just want to see like how many people have experienced all these different things. And even in like some of the ones that like I came across, I really didn't like there was no real and like
Mm.
particular mention of just like that. So I was just like, okay, that's like a detail that like I don't really have to put in here. They
Maybe,
have some.
maybe it's a meme, it's become like a comedic meme that's not as inherent as one might think.
Yeah. It feels like one of those because everything kind of like comes down to this particular detail, kind of like you take this particular detail and you run with it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
And so I don't think that necessarily like most of the stories are like that, but then like a lot of other stories do have that detail in them, and it's very much comes from like the perspective of who's telling that story and
You're
like what
right.
their experience are. And like again, I think that everybody should be able to be able like to be able to tell the story that
Mhm.
like, they have experience. Like
Right.
everybody should be able to get a voice. Um, but yeah, a lot of the stories that I came across, either had that detail, but it was very small
Mm.
and a little bit insignificant to like the rest of what was going on. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
meeting an alien.
yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
or it was kind of just like the bigger picture of
Mm.
it. And then I couldn't put that story absolutely into the book
Right,
because,
right, right,
details.
right, of course. Um, well, yeah, it's kind of like ghost stories, right? Where like whether you believe a ghost or don't believe in ghosts, people have been telling ghost stories forever.
Mhm.
So I think the book does a good job. I think I said this to you last time we talked. And by the way, if you haven't listened to that, go up on the feed and listen to that and many other episodes. Um, I think there's a right-headedness about these books and a kindness about it. And I like the way it's agnostic in the true sense of the word without like definitively knowing anything, but not dismissive in any way. And I remember there was a while where I felt like that was a big thing. Like I remember, did you ever see or hear of the show Bullshit, Penn and Teller Bullshit?
I remember watching it as a kid, but I don't remember details about it.
They had an alien episode and they were so dismissive to people with stories of alien encounters, which at the time I was like, we were all very edge lordy back then. So at the time I was like, oh, cool. But now I look back and it's like, well, if these people have trauma and they feel that these things happened, like, what does it help them or anyone for you to be like, hi, you're wrong? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like that like I think I what I love about this series and I think what I love about being able to write them is that I come from that like I call it like the Mulder and Scully kind of like dual brain where it's kind of just like it's either
I
you
want to believe
yes, it's like
the want.
yes, and it's like it's like I, as like your supernaturalist, the person who's like holding your hand and like guiding you through this like spooky
Mm,
world, I want to be able to be like, anything that you believe at the end of the day is completely and utterly valid unto you. But I don't also want you to dismiss anybody who also like
right.
who could believe in this or who doesn't believe in this. Like it's like one of those things where it's just like we're giving you very much like a dual perspective of it, and you can take away from this what you would
Right.
like to.
Yeah.
And I think for kids especially, like that's probably like the best thing that they could ever have, because it's kind of just
Yes.
like, I'm never going to dismiss anything that you believe. Like if you
Yeah.
believe that like an alien is in your backyard, I will never ever tell you no.
Right.
Like
Right.
I,
Right.
but I'd be like, let's like look at it and examine it, and like, you tell me your story, we'll figure out what this is together, and
Yeah.
then like we'll make sure that like, everything's copacetic.
Yeah.
Like, and you can either go, like you can either stop at that belief and you could just be like, you know what, I don't believe in aliens, and that's completely fine. Or you can be like, I want to know what's going on in the stars. Like I need
Right.
to like
Right.
go harder at this. And like
Right.
that's like, I never ever want it to feel like anybody is being dismissed in their belief. Like
Yeah.
that's the one thing that used to like really affect me as a kid, where I was just like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I believe in ghosts. And I believed in ghosts for like my entire life. But then once I got older, people was just like, ghosts aren't real. And I'd be like, well, you don't know that.
Right. Right. Right.
Like trying to just, you know, have that nice fine line of just like, you believe or you don't believe, but that's it. But either one of those things is a-okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
fine at the end of the day.
One of the things I liked about this volume was that you take the opportunity of talking about aliens to think about how we treat each other and how we
Mhm,
treat the capital O other.
mhm,
Um, and again, in I think a subtle way. Like I don't feel your writing is heavy-handed. I feel like it's fact-based. It really is all fact-based, and it's sort of very open. And I like that idea of, I think you end the book with what would you do if you did meet an alien? And it's kind of like, well, be cool to them.
mhm.
Why not?
And that was like a really important that was a really important thing for us to really get across, especially because we all have such big inherent differences. And it's kind of just like, well, if you met an alien, if you met another person who did not look like you, like how do you go about that? Would you go about
Right.
that with kindness? Would you go about that with like, "Ugh," or would you like,
Hmm.
how, but like, and why would you do that? And like,
Right.
the layers in between that of kind of just like it's kind of just like trying to go about your thought process of just like, that person's a different person than me. How do I conflate me with like their
Yeah.
differences?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, well, think about it in the way of extraterrestrial. Like
Right.
you don't know if they're going to be mean, you don't know if they're going to be nice, you don't know if they're going to be like a whole other different person, but like treat everybody that you see with kindness and then act accordingly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think when you are addressing young people, I think the right way for anyone to address a young person is a sort of like smorgasbord of concepts, right? And
Mhm,
this is a problem that a lot of people have. Like people, no matter what your belief is, parents often indoctrinate their children, and or say like, this is what we believe. We believe in this, or we believe in that. And I like any kind of outlet that kind of is like very option based, of be like, this is what some people think, this is what some other people think. Where might you be in that? And I don't have a stake in what you think. You know what I mean? Because I think what ends up happening, right, is later on when you turn like late teens, early 20s, you end up having to do a lot of work to undo stuff. You know
mhm,
what I mean? Like undo. whatever biases you may have been raised in, or whatever, small culture you were inculcated into, and you're like,
Mhm.
okay, do I actually believe in that, or do I not, or what? And I think why I like the tone of the way these books have been written, because it really is sort of like, here's some stories about this, and here's some, and I always love the way you tie in fiction,
Mm.
right? Because it's factual, right? That's the name of the series, but yet fiction, the existence of fiction is factual and
Mhm.
historical,
Mhm.
right? You talk about in this, towards the end of this book, you talk about Star Trek and Star Wars, and you know and I haven't said yet, these books are illustrated by Lila Burlek, and she does an amazing job, I think, with things like the Star Wars section. She does. I think I was saying on the last time you were here how I really liked her like non-copyright infringing Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Like I really like
Star
her non-copyright infringing Star Wars characters. Um but I really, and I follow her on Instagram, so like I see a lot of her stuff, and I incredibly like her style, and I love there's a lot of illustrations of this have like this theme of showing humans and aliens together dressed the same and acting the same, like kind of being like they're not that different. Like
Wars.
even the cover, everyone's sort of stargazing together. One happened to be an alien. I really love that. Do you do you have a favorite illustration? Do you have an illustration that jumps out to you as like this is my favorite of this one?
Oh my God. I I have two. One of them is it's a full page where the girl is getting beamed up and her shirt says out of this world.
Yeah, yeah.
I like lost my mind seeing that. I'm just like, I need that as a full-blown poster. That is amazing. And then I also love in the movie TV chapter we have an Ahura.
Yes, that's very
Like
cool.
I almost cried.
That's really cool.
Like Ahora's like was like my favorite person on Star Trek. Can't get enough of
Yeah.
her. And like when I saw that, I was just like, no, that's
It's beautiful. It's
amazing.
beautiful. Do you watch Strange New Worlds?
I don't. I should.
She's so good on that. Like they
I
focus on her a lot. You learn a lot about her backstory. It's like if you're a horror fan, you should definitely check out Strange New Worlds.
oh yes, because
It's really cool.
I had stopped watching Discovery a little bit ago, but I love Michael. Like
Mhm.
I was like, please put all the black women in Star Trek. This is
Mhm.
amazing. But when I saw like Strange New World and then I saw like the characters that were coming in, like the Spock, the like I was like, excuse me? Like that's an amazing lineup. So
Mhm.
and the actors that they have for them, like every single time I see like a clip on Instagram or TikTok or even YouTube, I'm always very intrigued. So I will check that out.
Yeah, they do something really. There's a really, I think, forward-minded like progressiveness to it, because like in the traditional show, like every episode was narrated by Captain Kirk, but in Stranger Worlds, every episode has a different narrator, and it'll be like, you know, engineer's log or whatever's log, and so like, there'll be horror centric episodes where she's narrating it, and it sort of makes the whole like ship more egalitarian. Like here's everybody's point of view on the Enterprise.
I love that. Because
Yeah.
I it was always very like cool to me too, like how like we don't really get that much of a point of view from like everybody, especially like in the original series,
Hmm.
where I like that where it's just like everybody was on the same mission and everybody
Yeah,
needs to talk about it.
right, exactly. My two favorite illustrations, well, one is one in the beginning. It's an alien reading a book, and the book says, "Humans, what's their deal?" Which I thought was really great. And the second one is the part where you're talking about climate change. You're talking about the future of the planet, and it's this one where we see both aliens and humans all like kind of protesting together, and they have these signs that say like "No fossil fuels. We only have one Earth." Your planet is on fire, which is an aliens holding that. Choose planets over profits. Take me to your leader. I have questions about the climate. That's another one, an aliens holding. I just think that's a very cool, and I think it's very cool that that part is in the book.
Mm.
What was that your choice? Was that the editor's choice? Was that because it's not necessarily something that is entirely directly tied into it, but you
Mhm.
kind of go on a jag where you're talking about space and planets, and then you kind of so it's like then there's this other section of like what's going on with our planet.
Mhm. It was uh all of this like a good combination.
Mm-hmm.
I think because of the fact, and this is like only me,
Mm-hmm.
but I think because of the fact that like we're doing so much to our planet, and we are also like, trying to go into outer space, trying to see about outer space, trying to like live on outer space, trying to do all these like different things in outer
Yeah.
space, that it's kind of just like, but what about here? Like, how are we affecting our
Yeah.
planet like here? And that was a really big thing that like we really wanted to get across, where it's just like there are so many things that like are is like that we're doing to hurt where we live. And even though like aliens are in outer space, like they are also like in their home, and
Mm-hmm.
they're pretty good. But like where we are, where you and I live, like it's kind of crumbling at the seams. And like we could do like these small little steps. Like I think a lot of like what this whole series, and a lot of what this one in particular like drives home, is the open-mindedness and the call to action to be able to like
Mm-hmm.
do things, and to be able to um make, not only like it's like you're open-minded in the fact that like you may or may not believe these things, but like you're taking all the information in, and you're making it like um this at the end of the day is what I believe. But
Yes.
then like we always want to end on like a call of action to be like, well, what do you believe, and how do we help ourselves? And especially in this one, how do we
Mm-hmm.
help ourselves to make our lives better for not only you and I, but for everybody around us, and for the aliens who eventually come and visit.
Right, 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 right.
Like,
Right,
so
exactly.
so it's just like we can't we I like I wouldn't want to greet an alien while like we're burning things. It's like on our
Right,
planet,
right, right.
they'll be like, bye, and then leave. Um, but yeah, I think especially with this one, we wanted to really come across and say, like, aliens are one thing, but we are also like kind of doing this to our planet, and
Mm-hmm.
like it's not looking great.
Right. Um, so last time we talked, you were saying you told me that as a way of preparing for writing, you consume a lot of media. Like when you wrote the Ghost book, you watched a lot of ghost stuff and ghost films and stories. What kind of stuff did you consume to prepare for this?
Oh man. um so I Fun fact about me, I used to be like a sci-fi girly when I was smaller. I changed that into horror because, like, again, how you said in the beginning, it's a slippery slope, like back
Right.
and forth. Like, um, but with this one in particular, I went back to all the Alien films.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. And I also, my friend, Kayla, she is an incredible artist, and she is an alien lover. I dedicate this book to her because
Uh-huh.
she very much helped me with the entire process. But she was like, she gave me, because I wasn't like, I didn't think about aliens as much as she
Mm-hmm.
thinks about it. And I was just like, do you have like anything that like you would want me to watch while like writing this book?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I got lists. So like she had me watch Contact,
Mm-hmm.
Fire in the Sky, which is terrifying in retrospect of watching it. It's the Travis Walton story. Bonkers.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of documentary, mostly on Betty and Barney Hill. I
Yeah.
tried to watch Aliens, like the one with the guy, the TV show with the guy just like aliens. Like I tried to watch that and I'm just like,
Oh,
I can't do
those
this.
things are so racist because it's basically people going, there was a time where white Europeans didn't invent everything, and we can't accept that. So we'd rather think that aliens came down and gifted the technology to brown people than them being able to come up with it themselves.
So weird. It's so weird. Most of the explanation too of like the how the pyramids got like made and stuff like that. I was just like, okay, I don't need to consume this
Yeah, like
anymore.
they figured it out before white people. Like that's just the answer, man. Just like live with it.
Take it and leave it. Just like go about your business. Good
So
golly
crazy.
God.
Yeah, it's so funny. Um, yeah, it's there's just, that's the thing I think that's more slippery with aliens than ghosts and vampires, which is
Hmm.
there is a lot of like politically charged things involving aliens and there is a not that it's political, but there is a section towards the beginning of the book about conspiracy theories where you kind of explain what a conspiracy theory is. And I think that that's a good way of just like putting that into the discussion, but
Hmm.
without diving too deeply into it.
Yeah, because they're like how I said in the beginning too, where it's kind of just like there's that slippery slope of just like this one piece of information just like going forward and going
Right,
ahead.
right.
And it's like with aliens, and I feel like with a whole lot of other things too, it's just kind of like that one little piece of information. If it's just said, then all of a sudden we're consumed by it and it is the end all be all the truth of the matter, and it's kind of just like we really wanted to be cautious of this is what a conspiracy theory is, this is
Mm,
how this manifests, and then this is how you can take precautions in being careful with
yes.
conspiracy theories, like do your own research at all the time.
Is there any
um
part of you as an author that writes for young readers that is feels vulnerable, feels afraid of like have any of anything you've written been banned?
not yet, which
Not
I'm
yet.
very thankful for. um
Okay.
and I hate that that's happening. Like that's like I think it's gonna sound very like of me, but it's I think that like when we consume media and stuff like that, I don't think that like having LGBTQ plus content be banned when people just want to read it. It's
Right.
like it's not hurting you, it's not hurting anybody else. Like a kid can look at that and be like, that saved my life. That
Right.
made me feel like the person that I am today. And I don't understand why we're like just going like, oh, you know what? Maybe we should ban that thing. Like, what is it hurting you? Like,
Well, it's a very flawed system because I believe all it takes is like one parent to write a
mhm,
letter to like a school library, and
mhm,
then the school just completely buckles under the smallest amount of pressure
mhm,
and says we won't have it. I mean, I just started working in a new school and they've got like I was walking through their library because I like to check out the libraries, and they had like a banned book like little display and like little like blurbs on why they're banned, and it's like The Wizard of Oz because there's magic in it, and it's like okay, well, it almost makes it like not that I want this to happen to you, but it
yeah,
almost feels like a badge of honor when it's like all of the you look at the banned books, it's like oh, all of the classics, like
yeah.
like it's
It's such a it's
it's
such
very
a
weird.
like, I like even like working, I used to work in a library, and a lot of like we did like a banned book display, and then like we had like I worked in the children's department for a couple
Mhm.
of months, and it was the best time I've ever had because I loved talking to the kids about like their weird interests. Like that
Uh-huh.
was the highlight. Um, but we had like a couple of parents who would like take out a particular book, come back in, and then like want to like, complain about that particular book.
Really?
Yeah, most of the time, which was wild. Most of the time it would be like history books that have like a certain image within it.
Oh my God.
Like there was a ghost one that we had where it's just like dead bodies are like sprawled across the ground. And it
Uh,
was like a World War II image.
right.
And we were like, that happened.
Yeah, like I'm
Like I
sorry it
can't
happens.
like I can't really do anything about this. And like she was just like, well, can you like take out the page? And I'm just like, I'm not
No,
defacing a book. Like
that's
that's so
insane.
weird. Um, and it's like we always want to, and this is another thing with like the open-mindedness of like us, where we were just kind of like, we want to hear you out and we
Yeah.
want to be like, why does this bother you? How is this affecting, like, how did this
Yeah,
affect,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
your kid, and how would, like, we've had like some brief conversations about it. But then like ultimately decided to like put it back on the shelf because like,
Yeah, of
what are
course.
we really gonna
Yeah.
do? Um, but it's just it always feels like such a weird, muddy area, but I'm just like, no, do not, don't,
Yeah.
just come on.
Have you ever read anything by Rainbow Rowell?
Yes, yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her book, my favorite of her books, Eleanor and Park, was banned because it features some content about an adult stepdad being sort of lecherous towards the main character. And it was banned for that reason. They said something like this is very disturbing. And her response, I think through Twitter, was like, "Yeah, well, you should have lived it. It was real disturbing then." And it's such a great way of saying like, yeah, this is like me explaining my experience, and
Mm-hmm.
you wanna ban it. And
Mm-hmm.
I lived through this as a young person, which was worse than reading about it, but maybe reading about it's not bad for people.
Yeah. Like
You know?
that's another thing too. Like most of the books that are being banned have some kind of like personal experience
Yeah.
for the author. Like Melissa or oh God, genderqueer. Like
Mhm.
that is a personal experience either for the character that is going through it or for the author that lived it. And it's like, how do you ban personal experience? How do
Right.
you ban stories that are so interpersonal that they just want to share with the world? Because again, that will help somebody get through the life that they're living,
Yeah.
or have them kind of go, oh my God, that's me. And then have it be like incredible. Like the one, this is gonna sound like weird, but the one book that like really helped me, I think about who I am as a person. And again, this is going to sound weird, but it was Frankenstein,
Yeah.
because it was kind of just like, are you the monster that everybody thinks that you are, or are like, can you be something different? And it's wild to think that that book could even,
Yeah.
somebody can complain and that book be banned. But it's like that helped me as a kid become
Yeah.
like, the person I am. And also, Mary Shelley rules.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, did you see The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster?
So happy. I have it on VOD, and I'm scared to see it because I feel like I'm gonna get overly emotional about it.
I think it's pretty good. I mean, there's so many adaptations of the Frankenstein story. I mean,
Mm.
just this year there was Lisa Frankenstein, which I liked, but I thought this was it was good. It was good. All right, let's shift gears for a second. I really want to talk about you announced that in 2025 your new book, The Girl Who Loves Monsters, is going to be published.
My
Can you tell us
baby.
about The Girl Who Loves Your Baby? Yeah, tell us about it.
So I'm sorry. Like I get so excited because it's kind of just like, first it's like a book that it's always so weird to me where I'm just like, it's a book that came from my brain and people wait want to read it. That's so cool. Like, um but then I have to be like, a lot of the books that I wrote came from my brain and people want to read
Yeah.
it. But like
This
this
seems more
one,
personal though.
yeah, this one was a personal journey because so it it's a story about this girl named Charlotte who literally loves monsters more than anything. She reads a ton of monster books. Like you can always just find her like in a corner reading Frankenstein over and over and over again. Um and she lives in a place that is like a normal seaside town,
Mm,
but then all of a sudden she comes across a book that unleashes something
mm.
inside of her seaside town that could very easily everybody
Yeah,
that
yeah,
she
yeah.
knows. Um but it
Unalive, as they would say on TikTok.
unalive unalive everybody she knows. But then she kind of inside of unleashing that, she realizes that her substitute teacher may not be a actual normal human being, but she may be a monster.
Wow.
I love this book so much. I love it
So,
so much.
um, did you? Is it a quirk? Is it quirk or is it somewhere else?
No, this is gonna be a Viking
Oh,
via
Viking.
Penguin Random House. Yeah. So
Nice.
I freaked out when we got, the let's do this together. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
So this
Uh
originate? Did this originate with you? This was your, and you went and shopped it and stuff.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Is it you? Are you the girl? Are you the girl who loves monsters?
I am the girl who loves monsters, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, Charlotte is very, it's so personal that like obviously like me as the writer, I put some of like my
Sure.
love of monsters inside of Charlotte, but Charlotte's like her own person. She's her own little monster girl, but I wanted this to very much be a love letters to not only monsters, but
Yeah.
people like me who never really got to love monsters
Mm-hmm.
completely when they were little.
Yeah.
And it's a love letter to like horror, like a love letter all around.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, still come back still when you're like very famous and popular. Um, let's talk a little bit about horror. Um, so what have you been watching? What have you been reading? What do you like right now?
Ooh. Um, right now, I'm going back into like my Giallo loves. So
Did you
I've
see
been
Criterion has a Giallo thing this month?
yep, yep. And it's like as soon as I saw it, I was just like, I've seen most of these. I'm gonna watch them again.
Uh-huh.
But I recently rewatched Blood and Black Lace, which I have a poster of that on my
Right there.
wall. Um, Blood and Black Lace, Torso. My first time watch with Death Walks at Midnight, which I was just like, wow, this is amazing.
I've never seen it.
Um, it's so good. I can't
Really?
even like Giallo movies are so strange because like I can't even tell you the plot of it because
You're
it'll
right.
probably give something away. I said at the top of the show, recently watched The Crow and Cuckoo. Um, I recently the only television that I finished is The Fall of the House of the Usher. And I was just like,
I haven't seen that. Was that good?
oh my God. Once you get past, I will say, once you get past the first episode and then you
Mm.
start getting into the interpersonal lives and stories of the Usher children,
Mm.
it's fantastic. It is
Mm.
one of those television shows, like it's almost on par for me for the house, The Haunting of Hill House, which
Yeah.
I
Yes, that's
love
great.
to my core.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
so good. Um,
Did you
but
see
then
Long Legs?
I have a not so great opinion about them.
Go ahead and share it.
Um, I I think okay. I love Osgood Perkins because his father means everything to me. I love Anthony
Sure,
Perkins with
yeah.
my entire soul. Um, if nobody has ever seen The Last of Sheila, please watch it. He co-wrote it with Steven Soderbergh and it's like a
Mm.
murder mystery and it's so fantastic from start to finish. And a great cast. Ian McShane as a baby is wild to see. Um, but I I like Osgood Perkins' style. I think that he has an incredible eye for when it
Mhm.
comes, and his cinematographer has an incredible eye when it comes to like visuals and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that the story itself very much was lacking in
Mhm.
what I feel like I needed for that to start from beginning to end. The first 5 minutes of that, and I know people have said it before, but the first 5 minutes are fantastic. It
Yeah.
gives that vibe of just like, who the hell is this? What is
Mhm.
happening? Why is this like, why is this person like this? But I think within the story, I think it very much felt like I have Silence of the Lambs at home. I could just watch that all day long. And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
even even though it's a visually stunning movie from start to finish, it's like I wanted so much more out of the story, and the second and
Mhm.
third acts really lacked for me in explaining anything that was going on.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
spoiler, I'm very sorry. Once the dolls came out, I was like, are you kidding me?
Uh,
Um, and I also have this thing where if I have to find out, I could talk, I'm so sorry. I could talk about like horror movies all day long.
go ahead.
But when I have to find out information after the movie, in like interviews and stuff like that, and you didn't
Yeah.
exactly put that in the movie, I'm like,
Mm.
okay, well, why did I just spend time watching that? You could have just
Right, right.
explained
I see
it
what
to
you
me.
mean.
But
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful to look at, and I
Mm.
really want to watch it again because of the fact that like it's stylistically it's perfect.
Yeah.
But it's just the story that was lacking for me.
I think a lot of people have been saying that. I disagree with you. I'm of a different opinion. But I do think that people who are calling it like a masterpiece are getting it wrong. I think like it has 10 to 15% bonkersness,
Hmm.
like bananas, and I think also kind of winks at you and knows it's bananas. And like whatever the hell Nicolas Cage is doing is insane. I mean, like the way it ends with him, like again, spoiler, like he like blows a kiss at the camera. Like, all right, you know that you're not even taking this that seriously. You're just being weird. Um, which is I kind of like that. I like a sloppy movie
Hmm.
sometimes. Um, so I disagree with people who are like, this is a masterpiece. It's like, no, it's not. It's not. It's it's a weird little oddity that I
Yeah.
think is interesting. Um, it doesn't hold up to a lot of scrutiny. It doesn't totally make sense. Speaking of not making total sense, as we record today, Beetlejuice came out yesterday. Did you see it?
I have it, and I want to see it because like I'm gonna sound like the most like curmudgeon-y person. And I swear to God, I'm not. I wasn't a fan of Beetlejuice,
Oh, really?
which
Okay.
yeah, a lot of people are very surprised at, even though like I love like my first love is Winona Ryder. Um but I was like, I'm not a fan of this movie, even though like I like, other Tim Burton movies. Like Corpse Bride is like I think one of my favorites.
Uh-huh.
But I want to see it because I'm very into the cast is brilliant. I'm like, you threw Justin Theroux in there? Let's
Yeah.
go. But have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I saw it last night.
How is it?
It is certainly entertaining. Um, I am a big fan of the original. I've
Mm.
seen it a million times. Um, it's did you see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire?
Yes.
It has the same problem that movie has, which is like there's 900 subplots. Like
Oh.
let's like focus somewhere. Like there's a sub I won't ruin it for you, but there's a whole subplot, and you'll note it when you walk out of the theater. There's a whole subplot that you could have just cut and made everything move smoother and make the rhythm better. And it's like, why was that even in there? It's doing too much.
Oh.
Um it's kind of sloppy, but I mean I was entertained by it. And Alamo had Tolly Me banana pudding, which I thought was delicious.
Oh my God. I want to go see it just for the pudding.
The
That's
pudding is so
amazing.
good. Did you watch Where Evil Lurks?
I love that movie so much. It's bonkers good. Like it like a lot of film like I don't necessarily really like love new horror films, but I will take in a film that is so ready to surprise me and so ready to like do like the gory, messy, hard work in
Yeah,
order to get me to stay there. And that movie from beginning to end is so wild and it should be like studied. It's such a great
yeah,
new cinema film of
yeah,
horror.
yeah. I agree. All right, one last question.
Mhm.
Twice, and then I'll let you go on with your life. Twice in the book, you reference She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. Were you a
Aw.
fan of that?
Weirdly, no. Like
No?
I had never seen it until like again, shout out to my editor until my editor was just like, "Did you know that like this is in here?" And I'm just like, "No." And then like I sat down and I watched like
Yeah.
the first season and I was just like, "This is so lovely."
It's
Like
I'm a huge fan of it. It's I actually have He-Man's sword on my wrist. Um it's so good. I've done whole episodes of it on this podcast. But what's amazing to me is like it all starts with Masters of the Universe, which is like gender roles and He-Man, and it comes out of the Reagan era and like testosterone and like let's sell toys to children. And then like it's evolved through fandom to like now it's um She-Ra and the Princesses of Power being created by a transgendered creator. No toys are made from it, and it's just this a wildly imaginative, beautiful, loving show. And it's like that's the power of fandom to me. Like
Mhm.
I hate when white guys my age are like, "Oh, they ruined my childhood" or whatever. But it's like, no, like really this stuff will die and go away if no one ever like brings it along and lets it evolve. And so I
Yes.
think, as like a lifelong like Masters of the Universe, world fan, She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, I think is the best entry in that entire franchise. It's
Yeah,
so good. And if you haven't finished it, take the time and watch it. It's so good.
I
It
absolutely
gets better
will.
and better and better.
Oh, I
It's so
absolutely
good.
will. I
Yeah.
will. I want to go back on my like animation kick because like even like Steven Universe is like one of the things I'm just like, oh no, I need
Yeah.
to like finish that. And I have like a lapis on my arm.
That's
Like,
awesome. Yeah.
there we go. Like I have a lapis on my
Yeah.
arm, and I'm just like that's one show that I need to finish. But I will absolutely finish that
Yeah.
one too. Like I weirdly got obsessed with like alien-esque media as
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
going on. Like I didn't realize a lot of my favorite alien like my favorite media actually involved an alien of some type. And then like I had to really come to Jesus with myself or
Yeah.
come to Alien with myself and be
Yeah.
like, oh wait, Killer Clowns from Outer Space is like legitimately alien.
Right.
And it's like my
Superman is an
favorite.
alien.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of just like, oh, that's right. That's a thing that's like totally happening.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies is like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, like the original one.
Uh-huh.
Love the Donald Sutherland one too, though.
Yeah.
Like that is immaculate. But kind of like realizing that, like, oh, like a lot of my favorite like media has to do with aliens of some kind. And I was just like,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
I think aliens are like zombies in that they can be stand-ins for whatever kind of thing the creator wants them to be a stand-in for. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The book is Sightseeing with Aliens by Insha Fitzpatrick. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. I hope you enjoy the rest of your spooky season. We end every episode by saying go bye bye.
Go bye bye.